Hi, my name is Brent Kooi. I'm a missionary with Mission to the World, and I've been serving in Japan since 2010. So today I'm going to talk with you a little bit about missions in Japan. We're going to start out with just a little bit of trivia about the country and about the culture as well. So getting started, uh, can you figure out where Japan is in this world map? It's in Asia, so Asia is the blue part, and right here, island off the east coast of Asia. Next, can you tell me which one of these is the Japanese flag? We've got Canada, Australia, South Korea, and Japan. And B would be the Japanese flag. Next, Japan is covered with a lot of mountains, and about 70% of the country is mountains. So here are a number of mountains that are famous around the world. And which one of these looks like it might be a Japanese mountain? Mount Fuji is almost considered a holy mountain in Japan. Many people traditionally would worship it in the old days. Some perhaps still do even today. Did you know that there are castles in Japan? Which one of these looks like it might be a Japanese castle? D, right there, is Himeji Castle near the city of Osaka. Sports are also very popular in every country, probably, and in Japan, here are four of the most popular sports. We've got baseball, karate, soccer, and sumo. Which one do you think would be the most popular? If you said sumo, you would be correct. Japan has an interesting mix of traditional and modern, and so part of that is demonstrated in the way that they get married. A little bit over half of the people get married in a very uh, more Western style, modern tuxedo wedding dress, but almost half the people get married still in a very traditional Japanese kimono. They might wear their kimono for other events as well, like graduations and various sort of celebrations as well. Fish is a big thing in the Japanese diet, and so sushi is very popular. This is some sushi that I had a couple years ago and took a picture of. I thought it was really beautiful. But probably more common in their diet would be a fish dinner similar to this. Now, if you're looking at that fish, you can see it's still got its head, its eyes, and scales and such. I'm not sure I would want to eat that one. I would rather have the sushi than this fish. If you were a child living in Japan and you're between ages 3 and 5, you would attend what they call yochien or preschool. And you might wear a uniform similar to what these kids are wearing. You might also go to school in a cute little bus that looks kind of like that, or if you're really lucky, you might go in a bus that looks like Thomas the Train. Once you get to elementary school, you probably aren't going to wear uniforms anymore, but you're going to wear these big, bulky looking backpacks. You're not going to have any janitors at your school, and so the kids all clean the school themselves. So you might be assigned one day to wash the floor like these kids are doing, or to wash the toilets, or to wash the chalkboards, different sorts of things. And so the kids actually learn to take really good care of their school because they don't want to make a mess. They have to clean it up themselves. But it's not all work. Probably the most fun day for the elementary school kids is called Sports Day, an annual day where the kids are all assigned to teams, and you can see the different color shirts. So the green team is versus the yellow team versus the red team. They compete. Their parents are all there to watch them, and they just have a lot of fun on Sports Day. When you get into junior high and high school, the girls would wear uniforms that look more like that, and the boys in uniforms like that. That looks like a pretty cool sort of suit, but I don't think I'd want to go to school in that every day and play in that every day. You might ride a bus that looks like this. They don't have the big yellow school buses like we have in the States. They've got nice big fancy coach buses. When you get out of school at probably about 2 o'clock, which sounds pretty good, right? Well, you don't go home typically. Most students go to after school tutoring. And so they sit in the classroom. And maybe the younger kids, you might go home about 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. Some of the junior high or high school kids, you might go home closer to 9 o'clock at night. And then when you get home, you still have to do your homework. And then the next morning, you're back at school, back to Juku, back to school every day. So the kids work really hard. And so there's a lot of stress in their lives because they have to compete really hard to get into the best high school, in order to get into the best college, in order to get the best jobs, and just a lot of stress. In Japan, only about 0.1% of the people are Christians. And so that means if there's 1,000 people, only one of those would be a Christian. So Japan's native religions include Buddhism, where they worship a big statue like this Buddha here. If you can see it, there are some oranges down here, I believe, that some people have brought him to eat. Can that statue eat those oranges? No, of course not. What does the Bible say about these idols made of wood or idols made of stone? It says they have mouths, but they can't speak. They have ears, but they can't hear. So when you pray to them, they can't do anything for you. They can't hear you. They can't answer your prayers. And so we should pray for these Japanese people that are praying to this stone statue, that they would learn about the God who actually can hear and answer prayers. Shintoism, which is the worship of ancestors, is also big in Japan. And so this is a Shinto temple, a very famous one that's covered in gold in the city of Kyoto. But if you're a Christian, you might attend a church that looks similar to this. This is an old house that was converted into a church. And here's the inside of that church. On average Sunday, maybe 15 to 25 people might come. That's very average in Japan. Their churches are very small typically. Now, as kids, your parents sometimes will tell you, be good, right? If they're dropping you off at school or with a babysitter or something like that, they might say, be good. And that's a good thing to say. We should be good. But in Japan, people expect everyone to be perfect. You must always be perfect. Everything you do must be perfect. Everything you make must be perfect. And so they have really good cars, really good stereo equipment and such, because they really value perfection. But the people have to be perfect, and we're not perfect. And so these children, they're under extreme pressure to always be perfect. If they get into an argument with a friend, they might apologize, but they might never talk to each other again because they don't know grace. They don't know grace from God, and they don't know how to extend grace to each other as well. And so I would ask you to please pray for the children of Japan. Pray that God will put a Christian into their lives, maybe a neighbor, maybe a classmate, someone who can tell them about Jesus and how Jesus loves them and has died for their sins to forgive them and to give them grace. Thank you very much.